All right, today we are going to talk about home buyer opportunities this year, 2024, for the rest of the year. The reason we're talking about this is because this past year has been unquestionably difficult for home buyers. And I say that as somebody who has been experiencing the market from both sides, because obviously representing sellers, people who are listing their homes, and buyers, people who are trying to buy a home. And it has been difficult for buyers this year in particular because of the market, because of the limited inventory that there is out there. It has just been really tough for buyers. Many buyers find themselves in multiple offer situations quite often, and they are having to concede certain things in order to get a house. They're having to take they're honestly having to make decisions because they're going to have to give something up. Something has to give, because if they really want the house, they have to compete for the house. And in order to do that, they're going up against multiple offers. And so they might be competing against a buyer who is willing to, not have an inspection, which I think is such a huge mistake, by the way. Just as somebody who's represented both sides, get a freaking inspection, okay? And don't, if you have an agent, as a matter of fact, who's telling you not to get an inspection, I don't want to give anybody, I don't want to knock anybody, but I would say maybe find another agent, because I don't feel like that is representing you, their client, very well. I just think that as your agent should be telling you to get an inspection. Do not buy a house without, trust me, as someone who has bought a house, who got an inspection but ignored some of the stuff that came back in the inspection report, I can assure you, get an inspection and take it seriously, okay? Just do that. That's like the best advice that an agent can give a buyer, is to just take that stuff seriously. Okay? But look, difficult year for home buyers. I don't think anybody is going to refute that. As a matter of fact, there was it was Bright MLS. There was a study that found the top reasons that buyers are pausing their search for a home. So they're just deciding to completely take themselves out of the market. And the reason they're doing that is because A, they couldn't find anything in their price range. B, they didn't have any successful offers. They had difficulty competing. So like I just mentioned, right? Multiple offer situations. They're competing against a lot of other buyers, and they're not willing to make the concessions that those other buyers are willing to make. Or maybe they're not able to pay in cash, or yada. There's multiple reasons why a buyer would lose in a multiple offer situation. And a lot of buyers are finding themselves in those situations right now, unfortunately. But then the third reason is they just couldn't find the right home. And that's, again, look, the inventory is limited. And so your ability to find the right home for the right price and not have to compete it's like tough. It's so tough, okay? And 9 times out of 10, by the way, if a house doesn't sell, it's because of price. 9 times out of 10. Agents are afraid to say that to their sellers. They're afraid to tell them that they're priced too high. I get it. People don't want to feel like they're priced too high. So I totally get that. But that is the truth. 9 times out of 10. All right. So let's talk about this. I want to talk about 4 reasons why, though we see it being very difficult for buyers, why the back half of 2024 could be the right time to jump in. Okay? So let's talk about reason number 1. That's the supply of homes is actually growing. So one of the most significant shifts in the market so far is how the 3-month supply of homes for sale has increased almost every month. There was a dip in February. So January, and then February we dipped, and then we go up in March. We go up a little in April. We go up a little in May. And you can see, if you look at this chart that hopefully I'm sharing right now, as long as my technology works, there's an upward trend in the inventory of homes and the availability. So there is an increase, which means you have a better chance. Every increase you see means you have a better chance of finding a home that's going to fit what you're looking for, what you need, and decreases the chance that you're going to be in a situation where you have to make multiple offers. Number 2, home construction is actually on the rise. if you don't see an existing home you like, consider home construction. I know a lot of people think of home construction and they think that it's out of their price range, but I would encourage you to work with an agent to check this out because it might not be. You might be able to find a new build that fits your budget. And new construction is an incredible avenue. It's honestly an incredible opportunity to get exactly the house that you're looking for. So even if you do have to pay a little more, even if it is a little outside of your price range, and maybe it means 2 to 3 more months of savings to get there, it might be worth it because you can build the house that you want, the exact house. And honestly, if you weren't considering new builds, you're like taking your amount of options down by a third. So, there's incentives to look, new builders right now for new homes. They're offering a lot of buy downs on mortgage rates. A lot of times, if you finance through them, they're offering great mortgage rates to begin with. There might be other catches, so just pay attention. I'm not a mortgage expert. I'm just telling you what I see. But it's just something to consider, right? Number 3, there's going to be less buyer competition. Mortgage rates are hovering around 7% still. Buyer demand is down because of that, right? People are afraid of the rates. You hear it all the time. If you're in this business, you hear it all the time. People don't want to make a move because of the rate. And so a lot of buyers are staying out of the market. And if that rate stays around 7%, because there's a lot of people who are waiting for the rates to improve, I think you're going to see maybe less and less. I just think it's, look, if you're willing to take the 7% and then refinance when the rates do come down, it's not a bad opportunity to get in now when everybody else is kind of avoiding. And by the way, home prices, and this is number 4, they are moderating a little bit. I mean, in the previous few years, you saw them spike at super high levels, right? And then they kind of dipped, and now they're sort of like moderating. They're right back in that middle spot. The moderation is due to supply and demand. Supply is growing, demand is easing because of interest rates, like we just mentioned, and other things. So prices are not rising as fast as they were. And so that like whenever you see these types of things, and that might be the right time to dip your toe in, because honestly, like competing and doing all this stuff is not fun. No one wants to fall in love with a house only to lose it to somebody who has cash. And you're like, well, that's incredibly unfair. Like I can't help it that I'm just not that well off, and I lost this house because this person is, and that's a terrible situation to be in. So avoiding those situations are, even if you have to pay a little bit higher of an interest rate, might be in your best interest. I don't know. That's an individual by individual case. It's what's important to you. How much do you really love the house? But anyways, I just wanted to make this video because I know there's a lot of hesitation. There's a lot of fear, but don't let fear guide you. If you want to move. If you want to buy a house, buy a house. If you hate your current house, get out of there because it's only making your life more miserable. And that 2% interest rate, by the way, is not going to fix the house that you hate. It's not. Yeah, you got a 2%. That's great. You might love your interest rate, might hate your house. Maybe going up in interest rate a little bit gets you a house that you love. Maybe you can still afford the payment, hopefully, if you're buying the house. But now you're in a place that you love and brings you joy and gives you abundance. And there's all these things. So there's a lot of reasons to get in. Don't be afraid. And if you're looking for an agent, by the way, my contact information is in the description below. And I would love to help you, if you live in Ohio, find your next home. So anyways, thanks for watching this. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next one.